Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Wednesday, March 19th. The lucky streak just couldn't hold as we wait the bell this morning. We also wait the latest from the Fed today, with stocks coming off a downbeat day on Wall Street yesterday. All three major indices closed in the red. The Dow gave up 260 points, or 0.62%. The S&P 500 ended off by 60 points, or more than 1%. The NASDAQ lost 304 points, or about 1.75%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're trading higher. I mean, they're up 0.17%. Price action's kind of flat to positive. So that is, typically that's what we see the day of a Fed day. We don't see a whole lot of price action. So today's kind of normal, but it is kind of positive because of yesterday's sell-off. So yeah, I'm not really surprised. But today the market was really preparing for this afternoon's announcement on monetary policy from the Fed. No changes in rates are expected. I did the dot plot, the summary of economic activity, which is where they think interest rates are going, how many cuts we're going to have this year, or how many. That's going to stay the same. I don't think they're going to make any changes. I think it's going to stay, 2 rate cuts and for 2025. Could be one this summer and then one towards the end of the year, possibly, but it depends on the data. And plus, the market's is still dealing with the President Trump and his tariff action. It remains a key factor in the economy. Powell's not going to be commenting. He's going to avoid commenting on this press conference. But I will tell you, President Trump is going to meet with top U.S. oil executives today. Chevron, Exxon, and others. And he's going to be discussing boosting domestic energy production. It's going to be hard because oil is relatively inexpensive, and they really can't make profits at these levels with drilling new wells. So, President Trump's going to really have to offer them something valuable for them to kind of, take this, take on additional efforts to boost energy production. What else do we can see? ADSK, Autodesk, Apple, David, Sam Kilo's trading higher this morning. Starboard Value Fund is expected to launch a proxy fight here. I see that Fitch Ratings lowered its outlook on global growth and raised its inflation expectations for the U.S. After the bell today, you get the earnings announcement from Five Below, ticker FIVE. And tomorrow morning, we get the earnings announcement from ACN, DRI, FDS, and JBL. They're all scheduled to report. Looking on what's happening over in Europe this morning, limited price movements. The DAX is down 130 points, or 0.56%. Defense stocks a little weak, seen some weakness in basic resources and financial stocks. But remember, it had a huge move yesterday. The FTSE down 24 points, or 0.28%. Some concerns with mining stocks and airline stocks. France, on the other hand, is trading higher. It's up 0.17%. It's quoted as, slight optimism to Germany passing its spending bill, and that Russia discussions with Trump about a limited ceasefire in Ukraine. We'll see if that actually comes to happen, or if it's just a effort to restock ammunitions. We won't know for a while. Then we're turning our attention over to Asia, and we're looking at the Nikkei, which dipped 93 points, or 0.25%. The Bank of Japan came out. They left interest rates unchanged, and they cited uncertainty over the political impact of U.S. tariffs on Japan's companies. They were a little dovish in their commentary, I will say, a little more dovish than I thought. But the Nikkei did drop 0.25%. Then you look at it, Hong Kong, which showed a gain of 0.12%. Financial stocks showed some positive activity, and in China, the Shanghai fell a tenth of 1%. There's some weakness in telecom and hardware stocks. But then we're turning our attention over to oil, and oil this morning is essentially flat. You got WTI at $66.87 a barrel, and Brent is at $70.56 a barrel. Now, the API data, American Petroleum Institute, their data came in last night. They released their stockpile estimates, and they showed that the oil inventory is increasing by 4.59 million barrels for last week. Now, that marks the third consecutive weeks of builds. This morning we get the EIA data. We also this afternoon we get the probably a likely press conference from President Trump and the oil executives. So that could be something. But keep an eye on oil. We're probably going to show some volatility in oil today due to the Trump meeting and the EIA announcement later this morning, Emily.
Bill, you're keeping track of a lot of the things this morning as we're looking at that main headline that there is that Fed announcement today, along with commentary from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, as you pointed out. And you're still watching those other economic events, what's happening with the presidential administration, which has, of course, been the major market driver over the last weeks or so. And you're keeping track of other corporate headlines and earnings, all using your NewsWare. You did mention a number of earnings worth noting, so we will start there. Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings action?
Okay, let's start off with the General Mills ticker GIS, Grace India Sam. They did beat by 4 cents, but it was done on lower revenue. Look at the stock this morning; it's down 3.47%. Then we're talking Signet Jewelers, ticker SIG, Sam India Grace. They beat by 37 cents. They did it on higher revenue. You look at the stock this morning; it's up 15.43%. I think I said yesterday, I expected a good report because gold prices are trending higher. They've had a nice move and they sell a lot of gold. So yeah, it makes sense that their revenues would increase, and then they did. And 37-cent beat, not bad. And then we're talking Ollie's Bargain Basement, ticker OLLI, Oscar Larry India. Okay, they met expectations, but it was done on lower revenue. But you look at the stock this morning; it's actually up 2.97%. So there are some positive. There were some positive things in their report for OLLI, Ollie's Bargain Basement. Then we're talking earnings are upcoming. Five Below, ticker FIVE. Their earnings are coming out this afternoon. EPS is $3.38. Expected move is 12.98%. Remember, they had a good holiday quarter. They came out and they said that they expect earnings to be on the high end of the estimates. I'm not shutting the door on Five Below. I got to keep watching that option activity. Darden Restaurants, ticker DRI, David Richard India. They're coming out tomorrow morning. Their EPS is $2.28, and their expected move is 6.69%. And then Accenture, ticker ACN, Apple Charlie Nancy. Their EPS is $2.84 with an expected move of 6.75% when they release tomorrow morning, Emily.
Watching all of that earnings action with your news alert for earnings. You also have an alert set up for economic events. This helps you keep track of all the reports that come out along with that information that's going to be coming from the Fed. And you have Fed alerts set up for commentary, which again, as you point out, when we have these monetary policies announcements, becomes important to watch because it's not just the announcement, which will probably come in as expected, but it's what is Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell going to comment on? What is he going to say? And that can be a market mover, as you point out to us when we're watching these latest decisions. So now let's get to a rundown of everything when it comes to economic events.
Okay, at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we get the Atlanta Fed business inflation expectations. At 10:30, we get the EIA oil stockpiles report. Then at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we get the FOMC statement on monetary policy. And then that's followed at 2:30 by Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's press conference. I don't think they're gonna make any changes. I mean, the market really says that they're not going to make any changes to their interest rate policy, and it doesn't look like they're going to make any updates significantly on the dot plot either. Powell's commentary could be the key here. I mean, it's expected to him to kind of really hold the fence. Remember, this is his last year as the Fed. His term ends next year. But I don't see him making any types of, negative comments. I expect him to say the same thing he did in his last speech, where he said, "Hey, the economy is doing very well. We're not, we still think inflation could be trending lower. Labor data is holding up well. All true." He didn't say anything negative. Remember, the market rallied off of his comments that Friday when he last spoke. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of similar comments, and he's going to continue to say that the Fed is data driven in their analysis, and it depends on what the data says. For them to make decisions on interest rates. So we'll have to wait and see. But we'll have to wait and see. But that announcement is coming at 2 p.m. with Powell's press conference at 2:30. Emily.
And I will, remind listeners that you'll be using your NewsWare to gather that information, the announcement, plus that commentary, and you'll be able to stay ahead of those comments rather than trail behind it. The other area that you're constantly keeping a pulse on are other types of headlines, corporate news. The information and data coming out of different sectors and segments. You look at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, all using your NewsWare. You're also able to group stocks together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Just doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 22 higher, 8 lower. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. I'm showing gains of about 0.4% across the board on these stocks, with the exception of Tesla, which is showing an outsized gain this morning. Apple, they came out, there's a news report saying that they fixed password bugs that expose users to phishing attacks. Google, listen, they bought out that cybersecurity firm Wiz yesterday. I mean, they paid up for it, but they did acquire it. And remember, they were trying to acquire it like 3 months ago, and they finally did a deal yesterday. Tesla, the gains are there today. I mean, you look at Tesla this morning, it's up 2.7%. Musk did an interview last night, which is, getting him back in the fold a little bit. And he said he was surprised at the level of negativity that's hitting Tesla, as Tesla's a peaceful company. Like, yeah, but, Mom always said, don't talk politics at the dinner table. And he's a political figure now. So don't be surprised that, there's some negativity towards you and the company you own, because in the minds of people, it's kind of the same. So, as long as other companies don't have that, because they don't have positions in the government. So, don't be surprised that you got some negativity. But it comes with the job. We're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks. We're talking UNH, Uncle Nancy Henry, United Health, Optimum RX further simplifies consumers' access to prescription drugs. It's a good story. You got to read that one. Apple, they lost that antitrust fight in Germany. Not good. Goldman's like one of the stocks trading lower this morning. I mean, it's down about 0.75%. I mean, one of the issues that Goldman Sachs has right now is the lack of IPO deals that are hitting the market. And the reason why is because of market conditions. You don't want to take a company public when, especially right now, ahead of a big event like the April 2nd date. So people are pushing back their IPOs till the second half of this year, and that's kind of Goldman was expecting a lot of them to come in the first half of the year, and it doesn't look like they're going to happen. So that lack of IPO data is kind of hurting Goldman Sachs this morning, because there's a lot of stories out there on it. In terms of guidance news, we're talking Health Equity, HQI, Henry Quinton, Yellow. They see full year 2026 EPS coming in $3.57 to $3.74. Street estimates at $3.76. So that's a downtick. General Mills, ticker GIS, they see full year 2025 adjusted EPS down 7 to 8%. I mean, that's negative. Ollie's Bargain Basement, ticker OLLI, they see full year 2025 adjusted EPS coming in $3.65 to $3.75. Street has it at $3.78. It's kind of a downtick, but Ollie's Bargain Basement is up 4% this morning. Upcoming shareholder events going on. NVIDIA, that GTC AI conference continues today. Hewlett Packard HP Amplify conference continues today. But Quest Diagnostics, that's ticker DGX, David Grace X-Ray, they're holding an Investors Day today. That could be something. DGX, David Grace X-Ray. In terms of buyback news, Ollie's Bargain Basement, OLLI, they announced a 300 million share buyback. That's helping the stock this morning, ticker OLLI. And that's what I have for you about news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us today?
Going with Walt Disney, ticker DIS, David India Sam. I mean, listen, there's two things here. The Fed news today could really spark a rally or a decline. We don't know. I think it's going to be there. I think there's going to be positivity, then some sell-off. But I think that Disney could really see a move here. And plus you got to remember, Disney's got that Snow White movie. That's being released this week. Snow White. I mean, that's a big time, big blockbuster movie that could really do something for them. And you look at yesterday's call volume, 31,236 versus 14,686. That's positive. And then the call open interest, 489,000 to 367,000. That's positive. And the major brokers too like the stock. They have strong ratings on it. So listen, I'm looking for a gain here, and I'm going to say you got to talk about an entry price, and the stock's bid 99.42 to 99.75. I'm hoping to get in $99, maybe $99.25, if I, somewhere in that range. And I think that is possible. And I do think we're going to be able to see some momentum in Disney where we'll trade over 100 today. So keep an eye on Walt Disney, ticker DIS, David India Sam. That's my pick of the day, Emily.
Looking for Walt Disney in that 99 area and hoping for a gain there. And again, making this pick as we await this Fed announcement. So we will follow that along with you. Coming up, we will do a recap on yesterday's pick of the day before we sign off. So stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
Trump Media announces the release of Truth Plus streaming on Roku. Bank of America sees the U.S. economy slowing, according to their CEO, who was talking on TV this morning. Oil stocks are ticking lower after Russia agrees to a 30-day halt on energy infrastructure attack. The war is still going on. They're just not going to be doing certain targets. Starboard delivers a letter to Autodesk regarding the Autodesk shareholders regarding the board. Yeah, they're gearing up. ADSK. Pfizer, ticker PFE, they sold the remaining 7.3 in Helion shares. They sold it for $3.25 billion, so that's not bad. Gilead, ticker GILD, trading lower this morning on reports that the Trump administration will make cuts to HIV prevention. Nike's releasing earnings tomorrow afternoon. NVIDIA yesterday, and the CEO unveiled Blackwell Ultra chips, which are set to ship in the second half of the year. Purdue Pharma files a new bankruptcy plan for $7.4 billion in an opioid settlement. Tesla gets its first in a series of permits it needs to run robotaxis in California. Ooh, this could be a problem for them. So robotaxis don't really work in fog, apparently, and they have some issues at night. And Oracle said it would provide Singapore's defense technology arm with isolated cloud computing and AI services. It's their first deal in Southeast Asia. Wells Fargo, the bank managed to close 5 regulatory actions in 2025. It does make the shares a little bit more attractive. And that's all I'm seeing this morning.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading on this Wednesday, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was GDS Holdings. Now, they did release earnings this morning. They with a conversion rate, released a Q4 EPS of 39 cents and a Q4 revenue of $368.6 million. Their guidance did apply a year-over-year increase of between approximately 6.4% to 10.5%. Now, I did also catch a number of buy ratings on the stock yesterday. Though you're hoping to get in this one and get a little bit of a gain there. It's been tricky to navigate, managing this news cycle, political news, economic news, and again, ahead of this Fed meeting. But how did your call work out?
It worked out. You look at it, the stock opened up at 36.02, and then it shot up to 36.62. It was a quick move, but it was there. And then, the stock closed at 36.02, and it's trading lower today after a positive earnings report. But, if you was the 1% gain possibility there yesterday, yeah. But it wasn't a great pick. But I didn't really love any of the other opportunities for earnings, and then GDS looked like the best one. So the 1% gain was there. Just it didn't hold very long, but there was the opportunity, Emily.
a chance for a quick win, so we will take it, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Disney pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.